Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a Q&A. It's been about 2 years since I filmed my last Q&A, so I thought it was a good time to do another one. I asked for some questions on Instagram, so I have my phone in my hand with all of those questions, and I'll try to answer as many as I can. I feel like it's just such a good time to do this sort of thing because 2021 is wrapped up, we're doing 2022, and it's just sort of like answering some questions that maybe have been lingering. And I've gotten a lot of repeat questions, which is always a good indicator to me that it was the right time to do a Q&A because many of y'all have the same questions. So let's jump in. I had quite a few people just ask how I was doing, which is a really nice question. I'm doing really, really well. It is about 2.5 months after I gave birth to my son at this point, and I'm feeling really good. My body feels really good. My mind feels really good. Our family dynamic has settled into the new normal. Those first couple of weeks were a mix of just that like precious, tiny infant newborn bliss and a real struggle. And so things have settled down and evened out by now, which is really nice. So I'm doing really well. Our family's doing really well. Thank you for that question. Along those same lines, several people have asked how Nora's doing adjusting to having a baby brother. So kind of similar to the answer that I just gave, those first couple of weeks were definitely challenging for her, for all of us really. There were like, those were like the highest highs and lowest lows, and now we've settled into a better middle ground that's a little bit more steady. Of course, for her, it was just such a shock. Like overnight, our attention was divided and she wasn't the only child in the house. And so we have spent a lot of time giving her short bursts of one-on-one time, and that's made all the difference in the world. So usually one of us gives her a bath each night, and we go in and give her a bath and just give her our full attention while we are bathing her and play with her bath toys and that kind of thing. Usually the one that doesn't do the bath does bedtime, and so Riley or I will go in and rock her and read books to her and lay her, like that sort of one-on-one time has made a big difference. But she has grown to absolutely love baby Colin. She calls him Bubba, and she talks about him all day long, and she'll go up to him and kiss him, and if his passy has fallen out, she'll go put his passy back in. When they're in the car together, she'll talk to him. Like, she just really, really loves him, and it's really, really sweet to see. Pretty much every morning, the very first thing she says when she wakes up is that she wants to go and hold him, and so we'll set her up on the couch and put him in her arms. And anyway, so she's adjusted really, really well. It was a little rocky there at the start, which I did expect, and since then it's been wonderful. So that's that. Also along those lines, many people have asked how Riley and I have found the transition from one child to 2 children. And then there were lots of questions whether going from 0 to 1 was harder or whether going from 1 to 2 was harder. They both have points that were easier and points that were harder, as far as becoming parents for the first time when we had Nora, and then going from just having Nora to having both Nora and Colin. I would say the easier part with going from 0 to 1 is that there's just one baby, and as I was recovering, I was able to really like lay in bed, lay on the couch, and just hold Nora and nurse her and snuggle with her and all of that. Whereas that's a lot harder the second time around when she's a toddler and I have a newborn. So that, on that aspect, that's a little bit harder, but our whole life has now, ooh, that's scary. Somebody revved their engine. Our whole life has now been built around having a child, and so adding another child into that mix, it's not as jarring. So Riley and I are doing great. We love parenthood. Both of us really, really enjoy it. There are really hard parts about it, but overall we just love it. So we've done well. The transition's been well. We also have a lot of support from our families, and we have a nanny come in a couple of days a week to give us a little bit of a reprieve. So we have a lot of support, and I don't take that for granted. That's a huge privilege. I probably got 20 to 30 questions about our plans with moving, buying land, building a house, all of those things, because I have discussed those different things over the years. I'm about to drop my phone. Over the years, I have discussed that we have been looking at land, and that our ultimate dream goal would be to buy land around here and build a house to our custom specifications, but we've also looked at pre-existing homes. At this stage, we are not actively looking to move or buy land. There are a lot of reasons for that. The main reason is, well, there are two main reasons. One main reason is we just had a baby, and the thought of going through and having our house like on the market and people walking through it and having to, like, all of that is just having to pack up everything and move. I'm not interested. Nobody's interested in that at this stage of the game. But beyond that, the housing market right now is absolute insanity. Houses that we would be interested in are selling so extremely quickly for so much over asking price that they're like not even worth looking at. We had a house come on the market about 2 months ago that is in our area that hit so many of the things that we are looking for. And as soon as we saw it, we reached out to our realtor, and she told us that we could not go see it. We were going to go see it that evening. We couldn't even go see it that evening because it had already sold with an all cash offer that was quite a bit over asking. And so with that sort of competition in the marketplace, we're just kind of sitting tight. We're going to hang out in our house. We love our house. We would like some more space, especially outdoor space, but we're very contented. So we still have our eyes and ears open, and we're not totally closed off, but we are not actively looking at this time to buy land and build or to move to a pre-existing home. In the future, yes, that's still our plan, but I would say that's probably 2 to 5 years out at this point, unless the housing market changes dramatically and quickly. We're just not interested in spending the kind of money that people are asking because it's just, we're in such a swell right now. So that's kind of where we are with that. This is a great question. Someone said, do you think you will ever combine Riley's business and your business into one big studio business? Maybe. We have talked about that a lot, and trying to navigate what that would look like and how we would do that. It's definitely a possibility, but time will tell. We'll have to see how things unfold as we move forward. Lots of questions about Disney trips, if we have any Disney trips planned for 2022. We don't actively have anything planned, like we haven't booked any trips. I would venture to guess that we probably will make it to Orlando, to Disney World, for at least a few days this year. I'm not sure when. We have gone in May a couple of times. I really want to go in late November or early December one of these years because I want to see Christmas and all of that. But the challenge with that is that both of our businesses are, that's the busy season. It's like Black Friday, early December, Christmas gifts, things like that. So if we can sneak away during that time, that would be a really good time because Colin would be a little over a year. Nora will be 3 at that point. So we'll see, but we don't have anything planned quite yet. I've had a few questions that have said, are you thinking about baby number 3? Do you have plans for any more children? That sort of thing. I don't know. I do not know. Right after Colin was born, I was like, I am done. We are not having any more kids. I don't want to do pregnancy again. Really, my 2 least favorite things about childbearing are pregnancy and postpartum. I don't mind giving birth, even though, like with Colin, it was, well, both times it was extremely intense, especially since I do unmedicated birth. So it's just really, really, really intense. It's intense any way you do it, really. But it's short. It's like you do it and then you're done. And it's so cool and so empowering. So I don't mind giving birth, and I don't mind babyhood. I don't mind newborn life. I don't mind all of that. But I really dislike, especially this past time with Colin's pregnancy, I was not feeling well. I just was not feeling well that whole pregnancy. And postpartum, I strongly dislike postpartum. Those first couple of weeks, like, they are not my cup of tea. But you get through all of it, and then you have this precious baby. I don't know. We don't know. Both of us come from families that are of 3. So I'm the oldest of 3, and Riley's the middle of 3. So I wouldn't be shocked if we decided, but I can honestly say I don't know. There's a part of me that feels like we have a boy and a girl. That's great. It's, things are in some ways easier in a lot of ways easier with 2 kids, coming from a family of 3, I can say. But there's something about having 3 and that dynamic that's really appealing to both of us, so we have not decided yet. We'll let you know at some point, but we don't know. We just genuinely are not sure how many kids we want. I wouldn't be surprised if we were done, and I also wouldn't be surprised if we went on to have a couple more kids. It sort of just depends how life unfolds and what we feel drawn to and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Someone asked, have you had issues with breastfeeding at all? No one talks about how hard it is. Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. This time around, I have not had issues with breastfeeding, but I felt like I had every issue in the book when I was breastfeeding Nora. She was born with a severe lip and tongue tie that we had to go get revised on day 6 of life. But because for 6 days we were nursing with such severe lip and tongue ties, it was excruciating. Like pain worse than childbirth pain. Excruciating. My tissue was just so damaged, and then I got a really bad case of thrush that lasted 6 months, and I could not get her latch right, and I mean, I had both times DMER, which is dysmorphic milk ejection reflex, which is this awful sensation where when the baby latches and your milk lets down, I don't even, like, anybody who's experienced it knows it's just this awful, depressive feeling that washes over you. It's something with like chemicals in the brain. It's awful. And it can heavily contribute to postpartum mood disorders because you're nursing a lot. And so every time you have this awful, like depressed feel, it's just really, yes, yes. My best advice is to hire an IBCLC, so a lactation consultant who is certified, who knows what she's talking about. Oftentimes you can even do FaceTimes or Zooms with them, and they're so incredibly, incredibly helpful. I also had a severe oversupply with Nora, and I was able to kind of figure out a way to lessen that with Colin, but the first couple of weeks are hard when your body's establishing. So anyway, such solidarity. Keeping a baby alive, whether you formula feed or breastfeed, is so much work. Formula feeding moms are doing all the sterilizing, and they have to make sure they have the formula with them and all of that. And breastfeeding moms are dealing with the issues that I just dealt with. No one has it easy. It's just so hard to keep a baby alive, and they need to eat so often. So there's really no breaks. So solidarity. Feed your babies, but like, give yourself grace because it's really hard. I had a few people ask for advice, like because they're pregnant. So congratulations to all of you who are watching. If you are expecting a baby through pregnancy or adoption, it's really, really exciting. My best advice is to lower your expectations. Truly lower your expectations. The things that you're able to do before you have children will not be the same once you have a baby. You might return to some of those things in time, or you might not, because your priorities will shift and change so dramatically after you have a little one come into your life. But you have to lower your expectations. There are things that will not get done. Your house is not going to look the same as it always has. Your healthy eating might not be a little off track there for a while. You might not be able to get to the gym. You might not be able to work as many hours as you used to. Your relationship with your spouse is going to change. You just really have to lower your expectations. So that would be like my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice is to let your partner help. You need to let your partner help. I think a lot of moms struggle with, I certainly did, postpartum anxiety, and feel like they have to do absolutely everything for the baby and that no one else can do it right, but that's a lie. That is a lie. Your partner can help you. So in my instance, when I was postpartum with Nora, I was in a bad way. And so all of my wanting to be in control was thrown out the window because it was truly survival mode. And Riley did so much, and I wasn't in the place, there was no me correcting him or telling him to do it a different way. I let him figure it out just the way that I was figuring it out, and it has made a huge difference in our relationship, spouse to spouse, and in his relationship with now both of our children, because he is empowered in the household to be a father and to step up and do things in his way to care for our children. And I never, and that is true, truly never am nagging behind him like, that's not right, that's not the way you do it. I just feel like that is so detrimental to the parent-child bond that they have, and also to our bond as spouses. If I'm just undermining him constantly and telling him he's doing things wrong, he doesn't have to do things the way that I do them in order for them to be right. And so you need to let people in, and the most important person to let in is your partner, because that person is going to be with you through the fire of it all. Don't nag your husband. Don't be telling him he's doing everything wrong. Don't be going behind him and changing things. As long as he is doing things that are safe, you know what I mean? Like, let it be. Let it be, and support him as he's supporting you, because in the long run, it will pay off to have two invested parents who both equally feel empowered to care for their children. I feel very strongly about that one, because I have so many people in my life say to me, Riley is such an involved father. Oh my goodness, he's so involved, he's so involved. I think some of that is personality, but also from the very beginning, Riley and I have been both very hands-on and involved with our kids, and we just let each other do parenthood the way that works for each person. You know what I mean? So that's a huge piece of advice to pass on. Someone said, what are your feelings about vlogging? Do you see yourself continuing for the foreseeable future? Yes, I love vlogging. I love documenting my life in this way. I like being able to look back and see what we looked like, what we were doing, what our house looked like, what our children looked like at different points in time, what was important to us, how we were spending our time. I love it. I love the community aspect of it. Yes, I definitely think I will continue doing it in the new year. I had a few questions asking about my word of the year, if I had one in 2021, and if I'm going to have one in 2022. I did have one in 2021. My word was vibrant, and I posted about it on Instagram, but I never did any videos about it here on YouTube. And vibrant, the definition of vibrant is full of energy and enthusiasm. I wouldn't say that ended up being like the perfect word for 2021, because I got pregnant in January and I was exhausted and like miserable for a lot of my pregnancy, and then it's been postpartum through the end of the year. So full of energy, I don't know, full of enthusiasm though, yes, I was so excited to meet our baby boy. That wouldn't be the word I would use to mark 2021, but I didn't know, I wasn't pregnant at the very beginning of the year when I chose that word. I'm thinking for 2022, my word will be embrace, as in embracing the period of life that I'm in right now with two little kids, and the beauty that comes from that and the difficulties that come from that, and just sort of learning to embrace each day. I'm getting better and better at that. It can be hard. I'm very to-do list oriented. I can be a very type A individual. And so having two little kids at home, many of you know, there's a lot of things that just don't get done or can't get done in the time frame that I want to, because they have a lot of needs, little kids do, and especially a newborn. And so there he goes. And so I'm learning to put that into perspective, that it's really not that important. The things on my to-do list are really not that important, and embracing my children where they are today and engaging with them, interacting with them, loving them where they are today is actually so much more important. And that sounds like so obvious and easy, but in practice it can be really challenging for me. So I think in 2022, that'll be my word. Embrace. Someone asked, was there ever a season of your marriage that has struggled with having kids? I wouldn't say it was as much a season as moments, especially in those first like 2 to 4 weeks with both babies. As a woman, my hormones were everywhere. I was really uncomfortable trying to figure out nursing. And like I said with Nora, that was associated with a lot of pain and trauma and exhaustion, physical pain and healing, mentally just like all over the place, not a lot of sleep. All of that combined with caring for a new baby, combined with Riley being exhausted and having his own things going on, like he's tired too. He has a lot of pressure on him to pick up the slack since I'm recovering. that definitely can cause friction. And so there definitely are moments where we're snappy at each other or say something that we don't really mean, or just kind of out of that like exasperation. But we have always in our marriage really tried to keep short accounts with each other, meaning if we are snappy with one another, we're usually pretty quick to apologize. Like there's never been a time in our marriage where we've gone days without speaking, or like that's never been us. So we try to keep really open lines of communication. And early on after having Colin, there had been a few days in a row where we just kept having those like really friction-filled moments. And so we ended up sitting down and just like laying it out on the table. Here's how I feel. Here's what's going on. Here's how he feels. Here's what's going on. And we came up with some solutions in order to kind of meet in the middle. So certainly there have been hard times with having kids. Kids add this like layer of love and unification in my experience to the marriage, but they also bring a lot of strain. All those things I mentioned, the responsibility of it all, plus the physical exhaustion and the sleeplessness. So certainly we have had our moments. We have certainly had our moments, as every family does, that I would not want to be vlogging for because they were not pretty, you know, when I'm exhausted and snappy and grumpy. And oftentimes I'm really just hungry, and Riley knows that, and so he'll bring me like a big glass of water and a snack, and that usually does the trick, because being hungry and exhausted is not a good combination. I had several people ask if we were going to, like if there was another name in the running aside from Colin. I loved from the beginning, I loved the name Reese, so R-E-E-S-E, R-E-E-C-E, or the traditional spelling, which is R-H-Y-S. I loved that name. I thought it would be cool also because Riley's initials and Riley's father's initials are both R-Q-L, and so with this baby, he would have been Reese Quinn Lamb, which I thought was cool. But Riley just didn't love it. It wasn't his favorite name, and we sat with it for a couple of weeks, and I was campaigning, and he just didn't love it. And so then if you've watched I believe it's in the nursery tour, like in Colin's nursery video, at the end I talk about how we came up with the name Colin. And I was actually just yesterday, I was nursing Colin. I was looking down at him and thinking, could you have been a little Reese? And I just think Colin suits him so much better. So I still love the name Reese, though. I think it's adorable. So if any of you guys have little boys or girls, I love that it's also, you know, a unisex name. I think it's precious. I just love it. I especially love the traditional spelling, the R-H-Y-S spelling. But yeah, that's definitely one of the names for me that was at the very top of my list. We also really liked the name Denver because Riley's whole family, like his mom and all of them, are from Denver, Colorado. But I just felt like, I actually don't really know. Like we just liked Colin better, but I thought Denver was like a really cool name, and just something like so different. But Colin was what we chose, and we don't regret it one bit. I think we just absolutely love it. I had a few people ask about nap time clean. During the pandemic, in the very beginning of it, my sister and I started an Instagram account called Nap Time Clean, where we would share like Mrs. Hinch style cleaning stories and little things and whatnot. At that point, I had been sharing online since like what, 2011 or 2012. So I'm used to what it looks like to share online. But my sister Allie was like, oh my gosh, because people would message us things and comment things, and she just got really burnt out of the constant input and frankly constant like, you're not doing it right, you shouldn't be using it, whatever. And that doesn't bother me as much because I'm used to it. I've been online for a long time, and everybody has an opinion about everything, and they would love to tell you about all of their opinions. But she was sort of like, I'm out. And then when she was kind of done with it, I just didn't really carry it on. I don't know. We might pick it back up at some point. She's pregnant now, and she'll be having her baby girl. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll get back to it, but we don't have any plans for that. On my TikTok, I've been doing some cleaning videos, so you can check out my TikTok. It's linked below. Someone said, can you describe Colin and Nora's personalities in 1 to 3 words? So for Nora, I would say funny. She keeps me in stitches. She totally has Riley's sense of humor. Smart, she blows me away. She's really, really smart and curious. She's always wanting to know about things and learn more about things, and that girl's gonna go really far. Now for Colin, I don't know his personality quite yet. He's only 2 months old, so it's hard to say. So far he is a little bit more serious than Nora, it seems, a little bit more like pensive. But he's also like really smiley. I wouldn't be surprised if he was like a little bit more introverted than her, and a little bit more of an observer, whereas she is like a ham. But I don't know, because he's still so little. So he's just like squishy, cute, precious, little yummy baby still. But I'm looking forward to see how his personality grows and develops in the years to come. Someone asked, what's your favorite part about being a mom, and what's your favorite Taylor Swift song? It's hard to say what my favorite part of being a mom is. There are so many parts of it that I absolutely love. I just love looking at their precious little faces and just like the love. I just like love them so much, and it's so exciting to be a part and such a privilege to like shape a little life and a little brain, and just like, I just love them so much. So just the relationship is my favorite part. And my favorite Taylor Swift song is State of Grace. I love it so much, and it reminds me so much of my relationship with Riley, so that's why it's my favorite. Let's end on this question. I think this is great. What are you most looking forward to this year? I'm most looking forward to getting into an even more solid rhythm as a family of 4, plus of course our dog Charlie Bear, and getting back into, you know, just family routines and family dinners and all of those things that go a little bit to the wayside, or at least they did for us while I was pregnant and in these early days with the newborn. And I just look forward to like being able to resume some of our family rhythms that were harder to keep up with when I wasn't feeling well during pregnancy and during these early baby days. So like I said, family dinners, family walks in the evening, spending time together right before bed, reading books. You know, we read books to Nora every night, but I love to like sit on the couch as a whole family and do that as Colin gets a little bit older, that sort of thing. And then in like a more personal sense with my business, getting back into, you know, a more regular routine with my business. It's been kind of in starts and stops because I was pregnant, and then I was heavily pregnant, and then I was giving birth, and like all of that. So just kind of returning to our new normal is very exciting to me. And just getting to experience life, everyday life with my 2 little ones. Like I just enjoy it so, so much. Seeing the world through their eyes is like the biggest, best gift ever. I also look forward to resuming more regular date nights with Riley. Sometimes I look at him, even though we see each other all the time because we work together, and then of course we're married and we're at home together. Like just the other day I looked at him, I was like, I just miss you. You know, with little kids, sometimes even when we're physically in the same place, it can feel like we're ships passing in the night, because that having that like one-on-one connection can be really hard. There always seems to be something that needs to be done, or someone who needs, you know, their diaper change or a bath or whatever. There's always something. And so I look forward to, we were in a pretty good rhythm there for a while of going out at least once or twice a month, getting a babysitter, or asking my mother-in-law to watch Nora. So I'm looking forward to that, especially as Colin gets a little older and it's a little easier for me to leave him for, you know, spurts of time. I look forward to that as well, because that's so important in a family. Like the marriage is like the foundation of the family, and I feel like investing in that is such a gift for our children too. And so I look forward to being able to spend more one-on-one time with my husband, because I miss that. It's hard, you know, in these early days, it's hard, but it will return. That's the thing about, you know, transitions, is they are just a transition, and then you get into a new normal, and then, you know, other transitions will occur down the line, but we will get to those when we get to them. Anyway, Happy New Year. I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday season and that you're looking forward to everything that 2022 has to offer. I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching. And if you asked one of the questions that I answered today, or if you just asked any of the questions, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for participating in that way. And I'll see you guys next Sunday. Bye.